franchise. At number 1, and I've been hearing a lot of rumors about this one since months ago, so we have here with us finally the first gameplay trailer for the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, and from a month ago. Well, as you could see, technically showing off how its multiplayer works specifically. If you're eating or something, just a heads up, I'd suggest give it a pass. And last but not least, the game will be coming to PCs, PlayStation and Xbox consoles in 2023, possibly late.
It's your own fault.
Now, coming up behind that, and this has actually been going around since a week ago, in case you missed it somehow, Nacon came out and announced development of a survival game based on the Terminator franchise, going by the name simply Terminator Survival Project. Supposedly an open world but a survival style game, and actually described as the first survival game set in Terminator universe. Well, check it out, Survival Project is now set for release on PCs and consoles, the folks said, in the distant future. At number 3, in case you didn't cut off in your radar by Flying Wild Hog and Focus Interactive, we have here finally a release date of September 20th this year for Evil West and a new trailer for it too. And what some of you might think to be one of the good old gothic horror gore-filled stuff you might actually get to see nowhere else. And now on its way to all consoles and PCs and looking exactly like this.
Smells of ticks. Gathering must be close by.
Get in. Access the operations array and use the cryonic rods to flush the system. Preferably before something explodes.
On the other hand, and after almost 2 years since its reveal, I think, Games Workshop developers finally came out and announced a release date for Warhammer 40th Darktide. Said the game is now releasing September 13th this year and coming to Xbox Series X and PCs only. The game here is technically a co-op shooter by the same folks who made Vermintide games earlier, technically using the old formula, but sends the player into a distant future and into the depth of a hive city. Take a look.
Set your data interrogators. If all goes well, we can unlock the system, prime the rods, and send them where they're needed.
Target is here! Engage!
That's the first part done. Get to the base of the Matrix Spire and put those cryonic rods to work. What are you waiting for? Get it in place! Now! You finished here? Look for a way out!
Welcome to Constellation. We have a lot to talk about. We're all here because we're committed to the biggest question of all.
Coming up behind that at number 5, in case you haven't heard yet, Starfield came our way once again and with a pretty hefty amount of gameplay showcase and in 4K resolution. This open world RPG, which is probably the biggest video game in development as I'm speaking, is now on its way to PCs and Xbox Series X only and due out early to mid next year as Bethesda's biggest gaming project to date. Check it out in case you missed it.
The visions?
The artifact you found appears to be one of many. scattered across the galaxy. If we can find more, we can unlock their secrets.
Beautiful, isn't it? The man who sold me this told me that it spoke to him.
Of course, the settled systems is full of groups with other priorities.
That's the Crimson Fleet!
Everybody get ready!
The fleet doesn't follow the rules. Agree to work for UCC, Steph. And together, we take down these cutthroat pirates.
We're not just here to shoot the bad guys. We're peacekeepers. We protect the people of the Free Star Collective. When you sign up with the Crimson Fleet, no one quits. The only way out is death.
Takes place during the golden age of piracy, in a world inspired by the beautiful yet dangerous Indian Ocean.
Moving on, and pretty much after 4 years of wait, 4 more years of wait, we did just come across a new release date for the long awaited Ubisoft's IP, Skull and Bones. That was first announced actually almost 6 years ago, as an open-world pirate ship battling action RPG in the same vein as Assassin's Creed Black Flag. This game is now releasing November 8th, 2022, and for PCs, Xbox Series X and the PlayStation 5 only. To accompany the good news, Ubisoft also did come up with 2 trailers, one gameplay and the second one actually pretty good cinematic trailer.
As a rookie pirate, you'll only have access to a small dhow. But as you progress, you'll be able to craft different ships, each with their own unique playstyle. At sea, you'll need to pay close attention to the condition of your ship and the morale of your crew. Your crew are a pack of vicious raiders and rovers who will mutiny against you, if not kept well-fed and happy. If your ship sinks, you'll lose some progress and respawn at the nearest discovered den or outpost.
Allow me to reintroduce myself. My name is O. H to the OV. I used to move snowflakes by the OC.
At number 7, technically Turn 10 Studios' latest and biggest racing game in development, Forza Motorsport 2023, or essentially Forza Motorsport 8, first announced all the way back in 2020 with only a cinematic. See, Forza Motorsport we now know is going to be another simulation racing experience with an even deeper customizable option, a better and overhauled multiplayer, and a lot more quality of life improvements. Check it out just in case you missed it.
I done came through the block, but I ain't invent the game. Still the vibe is in my veins. Only God can check me. Only God can check me. So I'm gone.
We are so good
at this.
Which fool wanna challenge me? Got a pack on your back with a strap, can't relax cause you know there's no guarantee. I never got this.
Up next at number 8, we've got once again Saints Row's latest game, simply just Saints Row, what after months and months of anticipation and rumors is now releasing on all platforms except Switch, August 23. See, this will actually be the first Saints Row game since Saints Row 4 2013. In case you're wondering, featuring a completely new cast of characters, it'll feature a co-op multiplayer section too, and this is how it actually looks like.
Side of the moon, high speed chase, make your heart stop from the zoom. Unsolved case, bring bizarre vibes in the room. Top floor brawl, that's a far drop from the front. I want all the power, the money and the dollars, the legends in the hours, the tunnels in my palace, 100 miles an hour. Cause I want all the power, I want all the power, I want all the power, I want all the power.
Company, come on! This is first platoon! We've lost the square! We can't hold it!
coming up behind that, we've got the hotly, not highly anticipated Warhammer 40k Space Marine 2 that just went on and got itself a new trailer showcasing some commentary but mostly gameplay. The fact that it's been over 10 years since the first Space Marine game and that the third-person shooter in development is now coming over to the PlayStation 5, Xbox Series X and PCs only. Check it out and make sure to stay tuned for a precise release date on Space Marines 2 in the future.
Decayed. A grisly nightmare of macabre perception. Greetings. I'm your host, Doug Bradley, and I invite you to join me as we explore Scorn's mesmerizing labyrinth of odd forms and somber tapestries.
At number 10, guys, we have once again Scorn, which is currently scheduled for release October 21st this year for PCs and Xbox Series only, after being in development since 7 years ago. For those of you new, Scorn is a first-person survival horror game in which you all have to go through some you get to navigate through some labyrinth with this biochemical sort of weapon and get to go through all sorts of weird stuff. Check it out, the fine folks at the company just came up with a new trailer for the game too.
Scorn has been carefully crafted with great attention to detail. Everything is focused on building a specific atmosphere. From a unique organic ecosystem to an unsettling soundscape created by Ethek and Lustmord. Scorn has no dialogue, so most of the storytelling comes from the environment, discovering the ever-present symbiotic relationships and how things are connected equips you with the tools to progress. While there is shooting within the game, Scorn is not a shooter. Every encounter must be.
Moving on by Arcane Austin, or Arcane Studios, the fine folks who did come out and announce Redfall last year just came out with once again and dropped a new trailer for what y'all know to be a co-op open-world first-person shooter from the makers of games like Dishonored and the other game, Prey. So the thing is, supposedly now this is more of a story-focused shooting game and taking inspiration from science fiction elements and horror games as well, hence all the vampires and all sorts of nonsense, and the fact that the game is now releasing early to mid next year. Check it out, just in case you missed it.
Some kind of collective consciousness.
Going up.
What is it, precious? The precious, of course. The precious. We want it. We want it.
At number 12, we have, for those of you who have been pretty patiently waiting, now the Lord of the Rings Golem's official lengthy endgame footage from a couple of weeks ago, and the fact that it is now releasing September 1st, 2022. For consoles, PCs, both generation, and even the Nintendo Switch via the cloud service, of course. And you see, this game is not centered around the huge open world aesthetic like other games of Deadlick Entertainment. Instead, it is more of a story-driven action role-playing game. So, take a look. Coming up behind that, we've got the Callisto Protocol by the same creators behind the Dead Space games. Now, in case you haven't heard this one before, partnering up with the PUBG developers and Krafton, believe it or not, originally even meant to be set within the PUBG universe kind of game. But thanks God it just isn't that the case any longer. Instead, the game remains to be a science fiction based horror game set in the year 2320 and taking place on the Jupiter's moon on a prison colony. Check it out, folks. The Callisto Protocol is due to launch December 2nd this year and releasing on all platforms worldwide. On the other hand, and actually no more than a month ago, we did to see about 15 to 20 more minutes of gameplay on Gotham Knights. Warner Bros. Technically giving us a very deep look at Nightwing's gameplay exclusively. As previously mentioned, however, the game will feature co-op through campaign, which is really fun, sounds really fun. The story is set in the wake of Batman's death, featuring every character and is finally set to be released on October 25, just the day before my birthday, and on PCs, PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X too. Check it out.
Protecting people runs in my veins. No matter what alias I go by. That's who I am. That's who I'll always be. Gotham has called, and I have answered.
Now, in case this is somehow news to you, see, a few months ago, we did come across the fact that a new Star Wars game is in development going by Eclipse. It is being developed by the same developers who previously worked on games like Detroit Become Human. You all know David Cage. This new game we know is now taking place roughly 200 to 300 years before the events of Phantom Menace, and touted as a new action-adventure narrative game and set within a huge open world setting. Check it out, this one's yet to receive a release date.
Of 21 police officers.
Disturbance? I'm a big fan. Now move!
Next up, and this has been a long time coming since December last year's rumors, we have here with us RoboCop Rogue City, which is an action first-person shooting game, as you can see, a tiny bit in the same vein as Bright Memory Infinite, just a tiny bit. But to be quite frank, there ain't really much to talk about with this one, except the game is coming to all consoles somewhere between June to July 2023. Take a look.
Shots fired.
What the hell?
Human of tomorrow.
There's a man in the facility. He's armed, and he's equipped with an experimental polymer glove. We have no chance.
On the other hand, we have with us the one and only Atomic Heart, probably one of the single most anticipated AAA games in the making when it comes to post-apocalyptic open world setting games, although this one's set in the past, not in the future, except you'd have to go with Stalker, which we're gonna mention later, and just an incredible game, so to speak, in almost every single aspect, specifically the premise. Just keep it in mind, Atomic Heart will now be released for PCs and consoles and due out in the final quarter of 2022. We here.
Now, shut up! Why the hell should I believe you all?
We've got 30 seconds. Let's go.
30 seconds to what?
And then it's total Biap his dad, son. That's what.
Going on?
The robots are out of control. They're killing everyone.
We know who's behind this.
You have to stop this nightmare now. Varric. Harold.
At number 18, once again we have Sinuous Saga Hellblade 2, literally the biggest video game in development by Ninja Theory right now, currently in development for the Xbox Series X and PCs only, and so far only rumored to be coming out early to mid 2023. To be quite frank, that's almost all there is to it, or I can talk about. There is a couple of trailers for Hellblade 2 just in case you didn't catch up, and I do highly recommend checking them out. They're really good.
How big are these risks exactly? The zone reveals a whole new world.
Coming up behind that and following an almost 3-year-old announcement, here we have with us once again the Stalker 2's latest release date that was set to be December 8, 2022, and now for technical reasons delayed to early 2023. Stalker 2 will apparently be a fully open world first-person survival shooter with no multiplayer components in mind, probably just a simple co-op kind of element, and following the previous entry's formula we know, albeit with modern features. Take a look.
Happened in our region quite recently, ruining homes and livelihoods. However, city officials urge people to stay calm, assuring them the situation is totally under control.
And last but not least, originally launched for Xbox Live Arcade back in 2013 first, State of Decay 3 now, the latest entry in its 10-year-old series of zombie survival open world kind of top-down games that was announced almost 2 years ago at the Xbox showcase, is now on its way, we know, to the Microsoft consoles in both generations and PCs, and due out possibly early to mid 2023. That is pretty much all anybody knows, so just keep it in mind for now.